3 problems seniors have with email. For the winter over the past 10 years, I've lived in a resort in Arizona for the winter. I was involved with our computer club and did a lot of tech support over those 10 years. And every year the same problems occurred as people came from northern United States and Canada. In fact, it was so bad that we used to make bets on who was going to be the first person coming in October with an email problem. They couldn't get their email. Today we're going to talk about 3 problems seniors have with email. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we make videos about seniors' issues. Today we're going to talk about problems seniors have with email. I'm going to talk about the 3 major issues, and then we're going to talk about past, present, and future. So let's get on with it. But remember, if you want to be notified as new videos come out, you hit that subscribe button at the bottom, and over on the right, hit the notification bell, and we'll notify you when a new video comes out. All right, let's get on with it and look at email and seniors. The 3 problems seniors have with email are the following. The first problem is they often use legacy systems. These are often old systems that have been around a long time because, of course, seniors have been around a long time. They've probably had their email service since the start of email. And a lot of these are old POP3 accounts. They're often used with their local ISP providers, and they're very reluctant to change. Which is the second problem seniors have, is they're often very reluctant to change the system they have. There's the fear of the unknown. In fact, most email now is used by seniors and less by younger people as we move into text messaging and certainly messaging services. And the third problem seniors have, well, it's a good problem. They get to travel. They've got some affluence now, they're enjoying life, and they want to travel. Well, then they can't get their email as they travel. Big problem that we saw in Mesa, Arizona, as people tried to come down for the winter months and couldn't get their email. This was a big eye-opener and a big complex problem, but we're going to talk about that today. And I want to sort of go over the past, present, and future of email. About 15 years ago or more, 3 large companies that control most of the email in the world got today to form a consortium. That would be Apple, Google, and Microsoft. They realized that at that time there was about 90% of email traffic was spam. If they got above 95%, then email as we know it today would be unusable. In other words, you would be getting, if we didn't have the spam filters in place, you would be getting so much email it would be non-usable. They got together and formed a consortium and put in place very tight spam filters to control the rapid proliferation of spam. And today they've held it at 95%, but that's a bit dicey right now. But they do make email still usable. Now, the second thing that happened in the past is that hard drive space was cheap, cloud space was expensive. So we had what we call POP3 accounts. When you wanted your email, you just downloaded it onto your computer. When you wanted to send an email, you uploaded it to the cloud and it was sent. Today, in modern email that we use what we call IMAP. This is where cloud storage is cheaper than computer storage, so we store it all in the cloud. This makes it accessible to all your computers that you have. As you know, if you log on to your Gmail account, you can do that across multiple computers because it's stored in the cloud. So today, the bulk of email traffic around the world is controlled through these massive spam filters to allow email to be usable. This does cause problems if you have old legacy systems or if you have your email with a local ISP provider. Currently in Canada and the United States, the email providers are certainly changing. We're seeing a number of internet providers getting rid of their email services. Email services can be complicated to run. You're not making money on them, and they have to provide elaborate tech support. Examples of this have been in Canada. Of course, there was TELUS, a big international telco company, who gave up their email last year to Gmail. We're seeing in the United States many companies such as AT&T selling off their email services. As you know, I watch a weekly show called a national syndicated show with Leo Laporte called The Tech Guy. It is very common now when people will be phoning in saying they just don't get their email anymore, and they're wondering why that occurs. And we're seeing this exponentially as this big change occurs. Now, this is a slide that I made back in 2015. This was, of course, the big hack that occurred with Yahoo, and over 1 billion accounts got hacked. This was the start of the downfall of Yahoo. As you know, Microsoft was prepared to buy Yahoo for $44.6 billion. The board of directors refused that, and ultimately Verizon bought it at a bankruptcy sale for $4.48 billion in June of 2017. Now, in the process of that occurring, they were able to open the books and have a look at Yahoo's email service. They found that the service was so bad that they went back to the judge who was doing the bankruptcy sale and said, we want a further $350 million off. The judge reviewed the information and said, you're right, it is terrible. The security was awful. So they indeed did allow $350 million to be withdrawn from the offer. Verizon got the email service, had it for about 3 or 4 years, and quickly sold it. Since then, it's been sold 3 or 4 times, and the rumor has it now that it's owned by the Chinese and that they are busily scanning all the email going through their servers. So if you are under the mistaken belief that because you have a Yahoo account, it was like the good old days, that is not true. It's like having a very sophisticated security system in your house and leaving the front door open. So if you do have a Yahoo email service, you should stop using it and get rid of it soon. In fact, my advice would be, with the tremendous changes occurring, is you should stick with one of the big 3 IMAP services. You can either use the Apple iCloud service, you can use Gmail, or you can use, of course, Microsoft Outlook or their Hotmail services. Those are all well protected and within the environment of the spam filters. So what about the future of email? Well, certainly the email providers are going to change rapidly over the next few years. I think this is going to cause chaos and problems if you're not with one of the big 3 that we've mentioned. The advantages of the big 3 are that you should be able to get your email no matter where you travel in the world. Also, the email systems they have developed integrate into their ecosystem and operating systems within the environment you're using their software. So you may want to look at that as well. However, as evidenced by a lady who had problems getting her Gmail. She couldn't get Gmail and she had no help from Google. She got so frustrated. She went down to Santa Clara, California, and she sat on the front steps of Google's big head office and banged on the door. She did this all morning and no one let her in. Very frustrated, she left, but not before the television cameras were there. So it is difficult if you have problems and you have no support. For this reason, I'm so happy that Mike Ungerman is going to talk today on Proton Mail. Proton Mail gets rid of a lot of the problems we've discussed today. It's an international company, it's very secure, and it provides excellent support. I think that this is one time in email's history where we really have to look at a safe, secure email system with good support. I want to thank Mike for doing this today and talking about Proton Mail. Let's see what he has to say. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Till we meet again, and remember, click that notification and ring the bell. Have a great day.
I'm Mike Ungerman, a member of the Central Florida Computer Society. Today, I'd like to talk about Proton Mail, a secure cloud-based email system. There are a number of alternatives to maintaining and managing email than using the email provided by your internet service provider. In discussions in this and other online discussions among user group members or seniors, we have talked about the advantage of having a cloud-based email system such as Gmail, AOL Mail, etc., especially if one travels away from their desktop computer and wants to stay current in their correspondence. Proton Mail provides an alternative to your ISP's email and a more private and secure email alternative to the big tech services. They've been shown to track your correspondence, perhaps not actually reading your correspondence, but keeping metadata, which may then be used for marketing purposes. And in societies that are not free, some governments may do more than just track metadata, and that is where a secure encrypted email system may have significant advantages. This is the website of protonmail.com. From here, you can learn more about the applications and the company. We'll look at the detail from a few pages on this site. Located in Switzerland, they state that they are scientists, engineers, and developers drawn together by a shared vision of protecting civil liberties online. They go on to state that Proton Mail is easy to use, secure email service with built-in end-to-end encryption and state-of-the-art security features. The company's goal is to build an internet that respects privacy and is secure against cyber attacks. The founding team of Proton Mail met at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and one of the world's largest and most respected centers for scientific research. From those beginnings, they have become the world's largest secure email provider with over 1 million users. Their growth has been supported by more than 10,000 individuals from around the world who participated in their record-breaking crowdfunding campaign. Proton Mail offers end-to-end encryption. Messages are encrypted at all times. Messages are stored on Proton Mail servers in encrypted format. They are also transmitted in encrypted format between their servers and user devices. Messages between Proton Mail users are also transmitted in encrypted form within their secure server network. Because data is encrypted at all steps, the risk of message interception is largely eliminated. In the example on the right, both Bob and Alice are Proton Mail users. Bob originates an email to Alice. The email client recognizes Alice as a Proton Mail user and knows her public key to encrypt the message which Bob is about to send to her. As a result, the message can only be decrypted by the corresponding private key in Alice's account. Once Bob sends the message to Proton Mail servers, the server never sees the original plain text that Bob composed. Once Bob sends that Bob composed, the email continues on from Proton Mail servers to Alice's account, where her private key decrypts Bob's message, and she then reads the plain text displayed to her. Once on Proton Mail servers, the data sent by the client is inaccessible to anyone except the destination recipient using a Proton Mail client. There is no ability to decrypt the emails while on their servers, and thus, even if subpoenaed by any authority, the data is not capable of being decrypted. They state, with Proton Mail, privacy isn't just a promise, it's mathematically ensured. Proton Mail uses hardware-level security with full disk encryption and storage in secure data centers. They utilize their own server hardware so that no third-party cloud sites are used for storage. Their data centers are physically located at highly secure sites that require biometric access. On a system level, their servers utilize fully encrypted hard disks with multiple password layers so that data security is preserved even if the hardware was compromised or seized. Proton Mail service does not track or log emails, so no personally identifiable information can be gathered from emails sent through their system. With self-destructing email capability, encrypted emails sent either to another Proton Mail user or encrypted with a password and received by a non-Proton Mail address may be automatically deleted after received. SSL for secure communication between Proton's mail servers and your computer or mobile devices adds another layer of security, preventing a third party from intercepting your traffic with a so-called man-in-the-middle attack. A Proton Mail user can send an encrypted email to a non-Proton Mail user, ensuring full end-to-end encryption of sensitive communications. Each email sent in this way can be decrypted with an agreed-to password that can be exchanged with the recipient. Users who use email clients such as Microsoft Outlook, Mozilla Thunderbird, and Apple's Mail can still obtain and use a Proton Mail account and install the Proton Mail Bridge, which will allow your email client to send and receive emails through the Proton Mail system. Proton Mail Bridge is available on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Proton Mail is designed to be easy to use, whether on a computer or a mobile device. As a cloud-based email service, it's accessible from almost any computer browser and has apps for Android and Apple mobile devices. When considering changing from one email system to another, a common concern is how easy it will be to set up the new system and import information from the old system. The developers of Proton Mail designed a software function called 𝐸ZY_Switch, which can import emails from your current provider. If you use Google's email, it can also import your contacts and calendar. Proton Mail's business plan is designed for user support on a monthly basis, even though an account can be opened for free with limited features available. With a free account, you get all of the capabilities of a fully secure email system with end-to-end encryption of email as previously discussed. A limited number of emails can be sent and received on a daily basis with 500 megabytes of storage. For those people who rarely use their email or want a second email account for limited emails or even a throwaway email address, free account may be all you need. I chose to obtain a professional account at Proton Mail. For approximately $6.74 a month, I continue to use Proton Email Client with expanded storage, unlimited emails sent and received daily, unique email addresses, and the potential for multiple user accounts. Additional features will be discussed in the following slides. At the time I enrolled in Proton Mail, a Plus account was available, which bundled Proton Mail Plus with Proton VPN Plus. I have only one user on this account, but up to now 6 email addresses and a custom domain. My storage space has also been expanded to 6 gigabytes. So my current Proton Mail costs me about $7.93 a month, with the largest discount being applied to the Proton VPN Edition and an additional gigabyte of storage. One of the biggest features for me is the ability to have multiple email addresses, which all come to the same email account, and then can be filtered and filed appropriately. A short form of the same address can also be enabled, even made the default if you like, MyQ18@pm.me, for example. Recently, Proton Mail added on a 6th email address option at no additional cost, MyQ18@proton.me. I have since added an address for all the online ordering I make, an address for the political sites that I follow, an address for my old Compute Assist company for registering for computer-related correspondence, and an address for my veterans correspondence. I haven't used the free email domain yet, but I could set up a MikeUngerman.com if it's not already been used, and the cost of doing so is already included in the plan I'm paying for now. Here's the web-based email client as it appears in my Brave browser on my Windows computer. It's essentially the same in any browser I have tested in Windows or Linux. It should be the same on a Mac. As with most browser email clients, the usual functions are outlined in red in the left column, as is the listing of received emails in my inbox. The group of 9 dots in a square is the icon for additional features of the Proton Mail system up here at the top. Continuing to scroll down, the left column reveals the folders that I have set up in the paid account. Selecting the top level folder reveals the emails in that folder and the subfolders that are also available. In addition to folders and subfolders, labels can be applied as a further aid in categorizing your email. The only limitation to a label is that I can't have the same name as a folder. Here I have clicked on the Linux label, which shows me one of the emails with Linux applied as a label. Contacts are stored and available from the contacts icon, the head and shoulders icon shown here, third from the right at the top. The display is shown in alphabetical order and also shows the group designation I have made for several of them. Emails can be addressed to a group as well as individuals. In the previous screen, Proton Mail alerted me that I have individuals that may be the same person and provides a way to merge those contacts as shown. You can delete or merge and choose the primary email to use for the resulting contact. Here are examples of some of the groups I have set up for my contacts. Here I have chosen to compose a new message. My default email is shown in the From field, and my signature for that default email is already added to the editor. I can click on the drop-down symbol and get other email addresses in my account if I wish to change the originating email address. Most of the other functions for composing or reading email is similar to just about any other email client, so I won't go into a full tutorial mode. However, I'd like to show you some of the other apps that come with the paid accounts. As I mentioned before, the 9 dots icon brings up the additional Proton Mail apps that are available: Proton Calendar, Proton Drive, and Proton VPN. Proton Calendar is unique in that the data that is displayed on the calendar background is stored and transferred from one's client to their server in the same encrypted format as emails, with the same protection at the Proton Mail facilities. Only a user with an active Proton Mail calendar application can view and edit the calendar. The calendar can import or export entries in ICS format compatible with Outlook's calendar. If you have the Proton Mail calendar app installed on your mobile device, alerts can be generated for activities there as well as on your computer. Proton Drive is a cloud drive that makes use of the overall storage one has in their paid plan. If you look at the bottom left of the column, you can see that it is showing me that I have used about a third of my storage space, primarily from email storage that has not yet been archived or deleted, and the installation program for an old version of Quicken that I wanted to put up in the cloud and access on a Linux computer to see if I could make a Windows program run under Linux. Given the space limitations, I see it of value only to share uploads by sending someone a link to download the files. As with other Proton Mail products, the data uploaded to the drive is encrypted and stored on the server encrypted. As you saw earlier, I included the Pro version of Proton VPN in my Proton Mail Plus package. There is a free version of Proton VPN, which is full-featured in how it installs and functions. The paid version adds additional security and transmission methods and more high-speed servers around the world. Note that Proton VPN apps are available for most computers and mobile devices. So I hope that this overview of Proton Mail system has been of value to you. I believe that Proton Mail is a better alternative for all of my email communications, as well as some of my personal information management with their calendar, contacts management, cloud drive, and VPN. Most significantly for me, I have been able to remove my email communications from big tech's oversight, a major goal I have set for most of my dealing with online activities.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is EV, PHEV, or HEV? That is the question. For several months, I've been having a casual email relationship with Mike Ungerman, who, by the way, is scheduled to do a presentation on Proton Mail in today's Tech for Seniors meeting. Mike recently jolted me into a new reality regarding electric vehicles when he told me about his 2018 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid EV, which is powered by a 1.6 gasoline engine and a battery-powered motor in addition. His PHEV, shown at right, typically has 26 miles of range before switching over to its gasoline engine. Since most of my trips are short, he told me that he only needs to fill his gas tank once every 4 to 5 months. Needless to say, I was impressed. My recent tech talks on electric vehicles have concentrated entirely on pure EVs, which use no fossil fuel, but Mike's PHEV made me realize that I really needed to learn more about these as well as hybrid EVs that don't have any plug-to-plug-in at all. A Google search helped me quickly find an extended article at consumerreports.com regarding the pros and cons of all three types of electric vehicles. By the way, this article, which was authored by Mike Monticello, also appears in the April 2022 issue of Consumer Reports. That's their annual car issue, and the cover is shown at the right. The rollout of new electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, and traditional hybrids is good news if you're looking for an alternative fuel vehicle. These models provide energy-efficient transportation while lowering or eliminating altogether tailpipe emissions and reducing operating costs. Traditional gasoline electric hybrids aren't efficient, but aren't emissions-free either. Plug-in gasoline electric hybrids split the difference between a hybrid and an electric vehicle. Or are you ready to take the leap to a fully electric vehicle? That move eliminates the gas engine, but you need to have a convenient way to recharge. Always trade-offs. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of each type, beginning with fully battery-powered EVs. EVs are very peppy and fun to drive, as I found out about 4 weeks ago when I drove a Polestar 2. They're also very efficient, and most models have a driving range of perhaps 200 to 300 miles. Exceeding that range requires extra planning on when and where you'll need to recharge. Without question, Elon Musk's Tesla led the way, having sold nearly 2 million EVs since it started up in 2009. Think of it, 2 million. Last year, Tesla sold around 300,000 cars to U.S. buyers alone. A Tesla Model 3 is shown at the right, a very attractive automobile. Let's look at the pros and cons. The pros of EVs. 1, it's usually less expensive to charge batteries than gasoline would cost. 2, home charging is convenient. 3, EVs are very quiet. 4, instant full power makes for thrilling acceleration. I can tell you all about that. The cons of EVs. 1, they're almost always more costly. 2, trips longer than the battery range allows need extra planning. 3, hot or cold weather impacts cabin climate, thus reducing range. 4, multi-unit living can impact charging. If you live in an apartment, it may be almost impossible to set up a really good charging station. A proposed Tesla supercharger station in Texas is shown at the right. It looks pretty modern. Wow. Let's take a look at plug-in hybrid EVs. Like Mike Ungerman's, which I referred to earlier, they allow for local driving on electric power alone, yet have the convenience and range of a gas engine for longer road trips. PHEVs have a larger battery than regular hybrid EVs and can be driven further and more often on battery alone. Also, regenerative braking can extend the battery's range since the gasoline engine and electric motor switch back and forth as needed. Finally, the relatively small battery packs can be charged using a common 110-volt outlet. The pros of plug-in hybrid EVs. 1, most can travel 20 to 40 miles on battery alone. 2, their gas engines tend to have good fuel economy. 3, they're good for longer trips since range limitations don't matter. 4, some are eligible for a U.S. federal tax incentive of $7,500, and that's significant. The cons of PHEVs. They are more expensive than gasoline-powered cars. 2, plug-in components may take up valuable cargo space. 3, since they're impractical without easy access to a 110-volt outlet. There are more than a dozen PHEVs available, ranging from the Hyundai Ioniq, shown at the left, which is under $30,000 US currency, to the Chrysler Pacifica, shown at the right, which costs over $57,000, more like $60,000. This brings us to our final category, hybrid EVs. Hybrids combine one or more electric motors with a gasoline engine. About 5 weeks ago, while we were still at Silveridge in Mesa, my next door neighbor, Brian, was preparing to leave for their Minnesota home, which is a 1,700-mile trip with their bright red SUV, a 22 Toyota Sienna HEV. It's similar to the picture shown on the right. Brian proudly told me that it had averaged 39.5 miles per gallon during their 3-month stay in Mesa. That's pretty, not too shabby, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was great. The pros of hybrid EVs. 1, excellent gas mileage. 2, lower emissions and often more power compared to gasoline-only cars. 3, never need plugging in. 4, they can gas up at regular filling stations, so forth. The cons of HEVs. 1, they cost more than comparable gasoline-only cars. And 2, many use a constantly variable transmission or continuously variable transmission that can cause high engine revving. Among the most popular HEVs are the Toyota Camry, shown with the lower left, and the Hyundai Tucson, shown at the lower right. Other popular HEVs include the Chevy Equinox, Ford Bronco Sport, Ford Escape, Honda Accord, Chevy Malibu, and the Hyundai Sonata. I think Subaru has one too. I awakened early Saturday morning thinking how I'd end today's Tech Talk. I turned on my radio and astonishingly heard a lady saying, EV batteries are the new oil and the US is lagging behind Europe and China in the race to make them. The lady was Joanne Muller, transportation specialist at Axios.com. I couldn't believe how timely this was. When the interview ended, I jumped out of bed and made notes that ultimately led to my finding her recent article, The Race to Dominate the New Battery Economy. Her concern is that the top new batteries and the very best technology is mainly sourced in Asia. By the way, Mrs. Muller is also the author of Axios Navigate, which is one of their many newsletters. Joanne Muller went on to say that the historic shift to electric vehicles will give the U.S. a fresh chance to achieve energy independence, but it will require complex strategic moves that won't pay off for years. Time constraints preclude my covering the rest of her article today, but it caused me to think that we might be entering a time when the popularity of fully electric vehicles wanes a bit, and plug-in hybrids, and especially hybrid EVs with their smaller batteries, gain favor because of battery costs, supply chain problems, and so forth. Joanne Muller's article could be my Tech Talk topic for next Monday. Thinking about it. Well, folks, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. And with this wonderful warm weather that looks like it's going to finally start up here in Minneapolis, in the Minneapolis Twin Cities, Minnesota area. It looks like I'm going to be able to get out on my John Deere mower and mow my lawn, and hopefully even find time to write another Tech Talk for next week. Thanks for watching.